Right where we left off, uh, you are in the Temple of Marcella. You've basically just sat down at one of the fine and comfortable tables in this. It's almost like a restaurant booths, but with their own curtains that pull across them for privacy. And
Ooh,
as you've sat
fancy.
down, Skolna has slipped away.
I am real quick gonna give her bardic inspiration before she slips away, before I lose sight of her.
How do you do that?
I'm gonna before she leaves, I'm gonna kind of like it's hard to touch her. Like I was gonna try to squeeze her hand, but I don't think she's too dexterous and it's hard to touch her. So I think he's gonna just kind of catch her eye and give her a little up nod, no wink, and be like, "You got this."
Okay. Uh, sure. You give her bardic inspiration through affirming gesture, and Skolna makes eye contact with you for a moment and then slips around a corner. I need to roll stealth for Skolna immediately. She slips away in the moment that one of the reverends, quote unquote, the clerics of Marcella, basically turns away and like handles a cart, and then they return, and Skolna's gone. Uh, oh, I apologize. Where did the hmm?
Hmm?
I could have sworn there was another with your. Oh, no matter. Uh, so, what brings you all to the Temple of Marcella tonight? Are you here for libations, relaxation, perhaps companionship? Or is there a darker need?
A darker. I rolled really high on my Marcella check. I know that she's kind of the god of like pain and pleasure. Is that the vibe that I get that they're talking about?
Uh, okay. So, you know Marcella is the god of wealth, of
Mhm.
pleasure through pain, and ambition, and is frequently seen as like the opposite side of the coin from Tindra. So,
Okay, okay.
you're expecting this question is likely along the lines of uh, seeking exactly what Marcella offers, pleasure through pain.
Pleasure through pain. Okay. Uh, I mean, he, I think, yeah, I guess Tam will speak for the group. Looking for some drinks mostly.
A good start. Do you mind providing the customary tithe of Marcella?
Oh, always happy to tithe a god.
Uh,
Um,
the the
He'll
cleric
push a
seems to
gold,
smile.
he'll push
Um,
a gold coin.
one moment. And she sets an empty wine glass in the middle of the table, um, pulling from her robes a tall bottle of red wine. She pours it into the glass. And then she looks at you and your group expectantly.
Does Tam already know what to do, or you want me to roll religion?
Uh, this is a little more specific. I need another religion check.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Right, duh. I'm rolling from the sheet. Hold, please. I know what I'm doing.
No worries.
19.
With a 19, you recall, well, Marcella was never a goddess that you spent a whole lot of time studying. That being said,
Sure.
it is impossible to be a bard without hearing some of the more salacious traditions. And Marcella, you remember, the tithe is you place a single gold coin, as is her symbol, in a wine glass, commemorating it to her.
Okay. I'm not going to presume that I know how to commemorate something better than a cleric of Marcella does. But I will kind of like look around at my group and kind of give a little nod to encourage them to do the same thing that I'm doing. And I'll drop a gold coin in the glass.
The cleric seems to close her eyes and smile as you do that. And almost instantly, as your gold coin falls into the wine glass, you see it clearly. The wine is clear enough that you see exactly what happens. The gold coin seems to evaporate into gold mist swirling within the wine glass. As that happens, your party watches you do this, and Wash, looks confused. But Sagona just nudges her and will put a gold coin in the wine glass as well. After each of you has provided a gold coin, which Wash does eventually, each gold coin mists itself into like a golden smoke that seems to disappear into this red wine. The cleric opens her eyes and smiles and says, "Thank you kindly." And then she drinks the wine glass. All of it. She puts the wine glass away and then she says, "What sort of drink would you like to start with?"
What is the thing that you find the most special?
What you've just provided. But that is not customary for our visitors. I am sure I can provide a fine spiced bourbon that will go down well.
Perfect.
The cleric pulls the curtain shut, and you hear her footsteps recede. You find yourselves alone, and Sagona is looking at you, and then at Wash, and she says quietly, "Right, so are we just waiting for Sagona right now?"
I think so. I think our job is to be good customers and wait for what information we have. We're not rogues. Skull is trained for this.
Okay, so in this moment, we are going to pull perspectives. You have sent Skolna on a task, and so we are moving the camera to follow Skolna. Skolna is adept at moving without being seen. It is her specialty. She sneaks along through these velvet curtains that line the walls. It's as though the shadows that the curtains are making are just enough for Skolna to hide in whenever passers-by through these halls make their way. And you find, through Skolna's perceptions, this building appears to be round in shape. Or at least this hall is. It's like a large circular hall with these booths lining it. Skolna is going to search for your target, and I'd like you to roll me a d20 plus 9.
Damn. Damn, Skolna. Okay. I don't know. How do I... There we go. Plus 9.
21. Skolna's investigation is pretty damn successful. Skolna sneaks her way through these curtains. Suddenly, as she rounds a corner, she comes face to face with, well, face to back, with one of the clerics of Myrcella. And Skolna finds that she has to find her way around this person. Skolna's immediate instinct is to simply hide, but there's not enough room in this hallway as the cleric begins to turn around. So, I need you to roll... let's see here. One moment. I need you to roll another d20 plus 9. This is an acrobatics check.
24.
As the cleric turns around, Skolna bends herself around the cleric, basically sliding her feet along the back of the cart that the cleric is pushing. It is close.
Wild.
But Skolna manages to dodge being seen. The cart rolls its way down the hallway. Skolna's like down on her knees, hidden beneath the curtain, watching as the cleric moves. The cleric rolls away. Skolna waits. Once the cleric is out of sight, Skolna's going to resume sifting through the various booths and not actually looking in them. But with that really good investigation, she is basically sidling up next to the curtains and peeking them open with just her fingertips, just enough to glance who's in what. It takes maybe 3 or 4 minutes when she gets all the way to the booth on the far side of the building, where she locates Marcus and the person Marcus is speaking to. I need you to roll. This is going to be a d20 plus 10.
Hell yeah. Rogues.
Yeah, they're skill monkeys.
24 again.
Okay. Skolna recognizes a black-haired human woman who's wearing a lot of black leathers and belts over what looks like traveling clothes. This does not look like a concubine or companion at all. However, this needs to be contested, so I need you to roll me a d20 plus 12 at advantage.
Oh, hell yeah.
You need to beat a 22. I think you've already done so.
You got a 20. She got a 20. I don't know how to roll at advantage in this thing, but she got a
It's
25
okay.
on her second one.
Okay. Yeah, simple enough. As Skolna peeks the curtain open, she catches as the woman is about to glance her way, and she just backs off enough that the curtain... It looks as though just the ambient breeze within the room shifted the curtain that Skolna looked through. The conversation resumes, and Skolna hears... The fleet's not going north. It's around the bay. So, whatever information you sent last time was incorrect. There is a moment's hesitation as you hear a ruffling of... as Skolna hears a ruffling of papers. Well, that can't be right. Just... let me look at who and where I can find the right reaction to this. The right papers, the right directions. It's all from Terracona anyway. There is more shuffling of papers. It is not exactly informative. Skolna's basically patiently standing outside this booth and listening. And I need you to roll me a d6, please.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everything.
It's okay. There's a lot going on. Okay. Skolna suddenly hears the rolling of wheels coming along the hallway from the other direction. Roll me a d100.
91.
The booth immediately next to the one that's occupied, the one that she's listening to, is empty, and Skolna slips inside with no issue. But just in case, please roll me a d20 plus 12 at advantage.
$20.
Okay. Okay. As Skolna hears the cleric of Marcella suddenly open the curtain to the room that she was listening to, she hears a very similar conversation to what Tam was offered. What they wanted, if they were to offer a tithe. Skolna's basically just waiting with her feet lifted up like, out of view. I need you to roll me a d20 plus 1.
Only +1. Oh, what is it for? Do I
This
know?
is an athletics check.
Okay. She is bardic for this if she needs it. 14? Is that enough?
Yes, that is enough. Skolna manages to keep herself suspended, though it is a physical strain, one that she's not really used to. She holds herself up so that her feet are not visible the whole time. By the time the cleric finally begins to move along, Skolna's legs are like shaking, and she manages to silently drop down onto the soft, pillowy cushions of the couch next to the booth she's spying on.
Hell yeah, so resourceful.
The cleric
Good job.
rolls past. Skolna gets back to listening. Suddenly, she becomes aware as the woman says, "Let me put this away, I'll be right back." And she suddenly begins to leave that booth. Skolna will duck back into the booth that she was hidden in. I need you to roll me another stealth, a d20 plus 12 at advantage.
27.
Okay. With a 27, there's basically no chance. Skolna is hidden in the shadows of the neighboring booth when she sees the woman leave. And then she hears the gnome say, to himself it seems, "Shh. Shit. If that's the case, then that means that someone else was wrong. Or someone else was lying. It was Margot. It had to have been." Then, Skolna watches as a different woman walks past her booth. One that doesn't even bother checking in the booth that Skolna's hiding in because there's nobody in there. This woman is wearing a black... It kind of looks like a robe, but it does not leave anything to the imagination. It is sheer. It is very thin and lightweight. And as she moves to that booth, she hears, "Would it be your usual, Marcos?" Yes. I'll be downstairs in a moment." And then I need you to roll me a d4.
Okay. 3.
3. Okay, that's a decision roll. Marcos then says... No, not Marcos, I'm sorry. The companion says, "Why, I'm certain this will all be here when you get back." And Marcos struggles until finally he says, "Very well." And then Skolna hears Marcos hop off the booth, and then she hears the two of them walk away the other direction. Skolna's going to take this moment to slip into that booth and see what, if anything, was left in there. I need you to roll me a d100.
Hell yeah. Come on, Skolna, you can find something, buddy. 83.
Okay, roll me a d20 plus 9. Excuse me.
17? I'm happy to add her bardic to this, if that would be helpful.
That's up to you.
17 is pretty good for investigation. No, if this is the information, let's keep... Oh, it's only a 1 anyway.
An 18. As Skolna looks into that booth, she realizes she doesn't have much time as she hears someone coming down the hall. The footsteps on the hardwood clacking. But she looks in the booth and she sees on the nearer bench, the one that Marcos was sitting on, a slip of parchment is stuck in the seat. She grabs it and then makes haste away. I need another stealth roll. Please roll me a d20 plus 12 at advantage.
Oof, 19.
19. Okay. As Skolna slips back out of the booth, she's making her way, and then suddenly she hears, you there? Stop, please. What are you doing outside of your booth? And Skolna turns and looks, sees a red-haired cleric, not with a cart. It seems like this cleric is of maybe a higher order of clerics. And Skolna looks at this person. While you don't have actual control over what Skolna would do, I'm going to give you two options. Skolna can respond to this in a way that tries to maybe disarm the situation, or she can respond to this in a way that she could try to escape the situation.
Let's go with escape the situation.
Okay. One moment. Skolna looks at the cleric. She is going to roll a quick investigation, so please roll me a d20 plus 9.
$29.
She recognizes this cleric as an important one. She notices this cleric has vestments of a high order, and she remembers what the voice of the other cleric sounded like. So, Skolna is going to roll a sleight of hand. Please, if you would, roll me a d20 plus 9.
23.
Directly behind the cleric's head, right behind her head, suddenly Skolna manifests a thaumaturgical sound that sounds like that voice, but it's not clear exactly what is saying. The cleric turns to glance in that direction, and in that moment, Skolna is going to flee. Please roll me a stealth, d20 plus 12 at advantage.
22.
Skolna is quick enough and deft enough that she slips into the curtains in that moment the head cleric turned around.
Incredible.
The cleric turns back towards Skolna to see that Skolna is gone. What? Where did... Jezza? Did you call me? You hear, and Tam would hear this as well. No? The cleric is going to investigate the area. You rolled a 22?
Yeah.
Okay. Skolna, creeps along through the shadows as this cleric is searching the hall. She manages to get around this cleric, slips through... the cleric only rolled a 19, so Skolna gets around them. However, this cleric is smart enough to recognize someone's just tried to trick her. She's going to search a little bit up and down the hallway. I need one more stealth roll.
This is so tense. 21.
Okay. Skolna is pushing her way, away from this head cleric and towards the one that was referred to as Jezza. Skolna moves towards that one, and she's going to again use thaumaturgy. I need you to roll me a d20 plus 6.
24.
Her deception roll is fantastic. The thaumaturgy emits a sound that sounds almost like Jezza, come here, but it's a little murmured, because the nature of thaumaturgy is it's not capable
It's
of
not
eloquent
full.
sounds, but it is enough with that deception roll that the cleric named Jezza turns and pushes the cart and says, "Coming!" And as it pushes past, Skolna slips out behind her and slides into Tam's booth.
Tam has maintained quiet, easy conversation with the rest of the group. And his passive is so small, is so low. He definitely doesn't see. He definitely doesn't see Skolna when she reappears. But he does have a drink for her.
Skolna slides the parchment onto Tam's lap.
Oh, hey. Thanks.
And we move the perspective back to Tam's as Skolna has returned.
He pats her on the shoulder, and I think at some point, because he got a whole bunch of candy for all of them, so he pats her on the shoulder and like has a honey candy in his hand for her, ready to go.
Skolna will take it quietly and pop it in her mouth. And then she says around it, "Found something."
Sham will look at the paper.
It looks blank.
Can I roll Arcana about that? Is it really blank?
So Arcana will let you know, like, you're proficient in Arcana. You would know that it is a simple magical trick to hide inscriptions and writing on parchment. You can roll investigation.
Sure. Well, I'm not as great at that. Can I ask Skolna to help me? Or can I ask to help Skolna? Do you think
Skolna will help you, but we're in your pants now, so you gotta roll.
That's fair. That's fair.
You can roll it with advantage.
I am not a rogue. I'm so not a rogue. That was a nat 1 and a 5. 7.
This parchment Skolna has given you is likely important, but you're not sure why.
Okay. Well, we should definitely bring it back to Alacaster.
Skolna nods.
No idea. I have no idea what it might say.
Skolna will quietly say, "We talked about something going wrong. Someone lying named Margot."
Someone lying in Margot. Okay. So, but he did have a conversation.
Yes.
With somebody.
Yes. A human.
Okay. A human.
Black hair. Woman. Looks like an adventurer.
Tam's got a minor illusion. Like, kind of like this.
Skolna, like, shakes her head.
Like a sketch artist.
Skolna says, "I'll point her out if we see her."
Okay.
Something went wrong. Someone lied. It's a problem for them.
Well, I can send a message back to Alacaster and ask if he wants us to do anything about this while we're here. Otherwise, he might slip away again.
I don't think he matters. She seemed like she mattered.
Margot or the adventurer?
The adventurer.
Okay, should we follow her?
Hang on. Skolna's going to pull out a small little piece of parchment, and she's going to roll her painter supplies.
Aw.
Okay, with a 21, this is what the woman looked like.
Oh, hang on, I have to make it so I can actually. Yeah. Hang on, I've got a million things up. Oh, okay. Cute. And we don't have a name for her or anything.
Skolna shakes her head.
Okay. Tam is gonna peep out of the little booth and just see if this person is in the bar anywhere.
So that's really not the layout of this place at all.
Yeah, seems like it's more. It seems like it's more. There's booths and stuff. I just figured I would check.
Like each booth is cordoned off by a curtain, and there's a hall that runs between the booths, and that's it. You really can't see into the other booths unless you move the curtains to look in.
Okay.
And the hall that passes through it, the clerics are making their way up and down them. And you see there are inlets off the hall that lead to doors. Some of them are open, and you can see that these doors generally have stairs leading down. Roll me a perception check when you look out.
$12.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 1.
Oh
So,
no.
you see this woman that Skolna has sketched for you walk down the hall and then towards the front door.
So
It's-
she's heading out.
It's clear she's leaving.
We could follow her. She's right there.
Skolna shrugs. And Sigona says, well, if we're going to, it might be now is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think Tam will. Has only been really nursing his drink, and I don't think he's gonna risk getting tipsy. Even though the I'm sure the bourbon is really good. He'll take one little sip of it, and then he'll slide out of the booth
Okay.
and follow.
Okay, roll me a D100.
Mm-hmm. 22.
With a 22, you slip out unnoticed. You happen to
Okay.
catch a moment where none of the clerics are immediately near your booth, and you slide out onto the
Have we
city streets.
have we paid for our drinks already? Is that what the gold at the beginning was about, or that was different? That was different. That was a tithe for the temple.
That's a tithe for Marcella. It's not the same.
Okay. But would they have asked for payment in advance? Do we know how much we owe for our tab?
Uh, probably. I mean, I don't think you'd know.
Okay.
I don't think you have any idea, now that I think about it.
Okay. Tam would leave. Hmm. Yeah, I think Tam isn't gonna just like stiff up like at a place that is a temple. Absolutely not. He
Okay.
will leave a gold and 8 silver. I
Okay.
don't know how much, which seems like a lot, but gold and 8 silver. Hopefully that'll cover everything.
Okay. You leave a gold and 8 silver, and then your party dips,
Yeah.
leaving to follow this stranger.
Yes.
Okay. As you leave the Temple of Marcella in a haste, Hiram is still outside near the dog. You see this woman is maybe 35 feet away from you and is moving quickly northward towards the city proper.
Okay. We'll hang back and follow kind of as before, in the same way that we followed Eniga.
As you're following this woman, Hiram says, what about the dog?
He can come with us if he wants.
Hiram blinks, looks down at the dog, and then just shrugs and follows you.
The dog can follow us if he feels like it, but Tam will not. Tam will not force the issue.
The dog follows you for a little bit at least. Uh,
Okay.
Speak with animals is done, so you can't understand the dog, but you do. Or you are aware the dog is following you.
Sure.
You are following this black-haired woman up northward through the South Fork. She is making lots of turns, and there are a number of people out on the South Fork. It's late evening. The suns are in the process of setting right now. So it is kind of like the ideal time to be in the South Fork. I need you to roll me a perception check.
Cool. Mm. 8.
Okay. That means I need you and your whole party to roll me a stealth check.
Okay.
You are having a hard time keeping track of this woman, and so you kind of pick up the pace to keep track of where she's going. And in doing so, you risk making her aware that she's being followed.
17 for Tam.
Okay. All right. As your party follows this woman around a left corner, around a right corner, back into alleys, she passes by a bar that's clearly like a questionable brothel sort of thing. And she takes a right immediately past it into an alley. And as with that perception check, you follow pretty closely. As you round the corner, she is facing you. Why are you following me?
Because you look like an adventurer.
The woman looks at you and like narrows her eyes. Roll me a deception check.
15.
Okay. The woman looks at you and at your crew.
Tam looks like a normal-ass human right now, with no gear.
Okay, but your crew are wearing
Yes.
Merigard gear.
My crew wears their... Absolutely.
What's the DC for your disguised self?
Good question. What is the DC for my... where is my spell DC on this sheet? Actually, I can just look at this on the... 17.
Okay. She looks at you and she narrows her eyes. Good eye. Why is that important?
Because... I don't know... See these guys? I've been pestering them for stories all night. I like adventurers. They tell good stories.
Okay, why are you really following me?
Because I want to know what yours is.
No, that's shallow as fuck. Why are you actually following me?
You think I'm going to tell you?
She kind of like leans her head towards you. Looks at your party. Think it might be a good idea.
Oh yeah? Why?
People don't like being followed in this town.
Okay. He'll drop his disguised self. I can't tell you without breaking my contract. So we're at an impasse.
Whose contract?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
But you're on a contract to follow me. I think I'd like to know who's after me, thanks.
You can ask. I'm not going to tell you.
Roll me a perception check.
Ooh, that's much better. 23. Oh, sorry, I rolled from my wrong sheet, but 23.
You suddenly become keenly aware that you and your crew and this woman are not the only ones in this alley. There are individuals that are kind of hiding in the shadows, is the only way to describe it.
Okay.
You see at least 4 individuals who are leaning, their arms crossed, in corners. They're hard to see. You rolled well, but they're there.
Tam will say, we can leave this and leave you alone, or we can fight about it. But if you want to keep your skin, I would suggest just letting us leave you be and living in suspense.
You'd take my skin.
If you attacked. But only if you attack.
Who are you?
Mayor Guard Mercenary.
No. You're telling me you can't answer that, who you are?
What good would it do me?
None, I guess.
So,
I suggest you be careful on your way home.
I intend to be.
She doesn't move.
Tam doesn't move either. He's not going to turn his back on this person.
Okay. How long does this last?
Tam will not blink. He's been in staring contests before.
She's blinking. It's not an eye. She's not trying not to blink.
I'm being metaphorical. Like Tam will stay there and be like, run along. We'll leave you alone. I told you.
No, you misunderstand. This is my alley. It's you who should be leaving.
Tam will back up, but will not turn his back on her.
Okay. She folds her arms and leans against the wall. You get the feeling she's not going to attack, but she's taking in a lot of details. And finally, you hear footsteps coming from the far side of the alley behind you. Mm-hmm. Suddenly from behind you, you hear, Kaiser, is there a problem? And do you turn to look?
Yeah.
You see a member of the Gold's Watch.
Okay. What did he call her?
Kaiser.
Kaiser. Okay, good to know.
Kaiser looks over your shoulder at the individual who appeared. I can't tell. Adventurer's on a contract about me, I guess. The sort of contract we need to worry about. They won't tell me. I don't think it's a bounty.
It's not a bounty. But we're bound not to say anything else. Sorry. It's just business. We'll leave.
Best make haste with that, then.
Mm-hmm. Tam will step out. Now, if there's a guard there, he feels slightly better about not getting stabbed in the back.
Okay. As you turn to leave, or rather, as you walk away, I don't know if you turn at all. It doesn't really matter. The Gold's Watch member enters the alley, and then he turns back and he, looks at you and your crew as you're leaving. Wait a minute.
Hmm?
You were at the murder. I remember you. You were at the North Gate.
We had nothing to do with that, though. We just happened to be there.
Well, be that as it may, that investigation is still going on, so I'm going to need you to come with me for questioning.
Okay, sure.
That means all of you. And this Gold's Watch officer is looking at your party. You hear Skolna, like, shift, as if she's going to do something.
Hey, it's alright. We didn't have anything to do with it. We don't have anything to lie about. We might as well answer his questions.
Skolna seems to relax, but follows you. And the Gold's Watch member says, are you going to come peacefully, or do I need to go get some assistance?
We said we have nothing to lie about. Why would we not? We truly, we were just there.
You are being
That's all.
detained. Some adventurers
I
have
get
a
that.
problem with that.
I mean, like, if we're innocent, why? I don't understand why we would make a fuss. I don't love it, but I'm not going to fight you about it. You're the law.
Right. He puts a whistle in his mouth and he blows it twice to sharp trills. And then you hear footsteps as 3 more Gold's Watch appear. As they do, he says, all right, you 5, please follow me to the bridge guard post.
Sure.
You have been detained by the Gold's Watch. As you... Come on, Foundry. Please load. As you are basically being led towards the bridge, it's not ideal, but it perhaps is better than a fight in the Southwark. As you're walking, the Gold's Watch member, the one who was first speaking to you, turns to you and says, while you're walking, for the sake of ease, may I have your names?
We'll give them to him, or at least Tam will.
Skolna doesn't say anything. Sagona gives her name, Wash gives her name, Hiram gives his name. The Gold's Watch member says, you can call me Jared.
Jared it is, then.
Why are you still quiet? And he, like, prods Skolna.
She doesn't talk much. I wouldn't touch her. She doesn't like that.
Your cooperation would make this much easier for everyone involved. And Skolna shrugs. I need you to roll a persuasion check for Skolna's behalf. So.
Oh, sorry. I rolled from the wrong sheet again. 16.
16. The Gold's Watch officer, Jared, seems annoyed at Skolna's noncompliance, but you are just being detained, so he does not press the issue. You arrive at the guard post near the bridge to Four Forges. The guard post tower it's a stout building, maybe 40 feet across. All of you are led into it, where it's warm, not super comfortable, and smells of fish.
Okay.
More so than anywhere else.
He'll look at Skolna and go, you were right.
She just does an up nod.
Does all smell of fish.
As Jared leads in, he says, can we get some more chairs in here? And there's like some mucking about by the Gold's Watch that you saw were basically off-duty in this guard post. Most of them didn't have armor on, and they all just kind of stir, moving into the other rooms, and some wooden chairs are brought in. Have a seat, please. Your team sit down?
Yep, he'll sit down.
He sits down across from all of you. All right. I realize that you are mercenaries of the Maragon Mercenary Company, and therefore you are not subject to the same laws and regulations as those of us who are by standard Aurelians. That being said, there is a murder investigation occurring, and I need to ask you questions as you were seen near the scene of the crime.
Sure.
Have you heard of the name Peter Mullow?
Have I?
Roll a history check.
Oh, shoot, sorry. 21.
No.
No?
He asked the same question to your party. Your whole party has no idea. Right. You are telling the truth, so please roll me a persuasion.
Sure. Natural 20.
Okay. Do any of you in your group use piercing weapons, such as javelins, spears, halberds?
Yes? Hang on, let me... Does Soul Singer do piercing?
Yeah, it's a rapier. Soul Singer does
It's
piercing.
a rapier. It's a piercing. Yeah, we do. We're adventurers. Lots of people have weapons that do that.
Right. I need a recounting of your actions yesterday evening between the times of 8 o'clock p.m. and 11 o'clock p.m.
Okay. Emily rolls a history check. I think out of character, I think last night we just had gotten into town, right? We had just gotten into town and we were in the tavern and we went to bed.
Yeah, basically.
Right? He'll tell him that.
Roll persuasion.
We got out and went to Cavi's. It'll be minimal details. We're performing a routine escort mission. I don't think he'll even say what the name of the tavern. Fuck.
So you with a 12 persuasion, your story's coming across as jumbled. Basically, you're trying to remember everything, and as you're saying it, it's a little out of order. It's confusing, and Jared is like, "What? Okay, slow down. What tavern?
Cavi's.
Can Cavendish vouch? Do you have an alibi for this time in question?"
Yeah, I talked to the forged and I talked to the bartender.
Forged? What forged are you talking about?
The forged that's at Cavi's?
He
is
like looking. He looks over at the other Gold's Watch officers. There's no forged in Cavi's. Not that I know of.
I mean, there is, but you can talk to Cavendish too.
One moment. And Jared stands up and he goes into another room. You find yourself awkwardly isolated in the guard post house with lots of other Gold's Watch officers, some of them on duty and some of them not. They're talking to each other. The ones that are kind of guarding you, they're basically just standing there, standing about. If you want to try anything, now is the time.
I badly want to cast Detect Thoughts and just get a sense of what the guards are thinking, but I'm pretty sure they would be mad at me for casting a spell in their
Probably.
keep.
They might
Yeah,
be a little
so I'm not.
upset.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I also kind of want to like amuse myself with a minor illusion, but I imagine that any kind of spell casting will be frowned upon. Um, so there's got to be some kind of like road game that they all play. Uh, some sort of like 20 questions sort of situation, I spy looking thing. Um,
I
so
cannot imagine Skolna nor Hiram putting up with that
oh
for
yeah,
even a moment.
I'm sure that Skullnut and Hiram, but like Sedona, absolutely. And I imagine that like he could maybe convince Wash to be like, this is a way to practice your common. So Tam will try to get a round of that going while they're waiting, so they're not bored and also not like itchy. And he'll be keeping an eye on Skullnut to make sure that she's not itchy either.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. God, I'm rolling terribly. 14.
14. Uh, you kind of get a round of it started, but the vibe is the aura in this room is not conducive.
Yeah. It's not conducive. The conduciveness is not the point. Tam wants to like try to keep everybody level-headed without there's not a good place to like talk about anything right now.
That's fair. Um, you watch as one of the Gold's Watch officers emerges from the room that Jared went into. He kind of looks at you and your crew, like with an annoyed look on his face, and then goes straight out the door. And then Jared returns. I've sent an officer to go speak with Cavi.
Hmm.
If what you say checks out, you're off the hook.
Out of curiosity, who was this guy?
Who was Peter?
Mm-hmm. Why would somebody want to kill him?
That's what we're trying to find out.
But he was just like a guy, right? Like,
He was an import ambassador. He dealt with goods coming in from, well, Quarterstone and Shona.
do I know what comes from Quarterstone and Shona?
You're can. Roll a history check. The DC's pretty high for you. 21. Yeah, you. I would say you know that from Quarterstone, Mithril is an expensive import that you've heard comes from Quarterstone. You're sure there's other things, but you're not positive. As for Shona, you think textiles? You don't know for sure.
So nothing like, and so nothing into my knowledge that would be like actually useful in a wartime other than mithril.
Um, Nothing off the top of your head. But
Okay,
you also like this is information that you are not confident about.
sure. Sounds like a weird target for a murder. Just some random importer. Okay. Wonder what happened.
The guard, Jared, like sits down across from you and he says, "Right. So now all we can do is wait."
Yeah, guess so.
So what were the five of you doing following Kaiser?
We had a job. We can't tell you about it. Mercenary stuff.
That's not actually a thing. I need you to understand that as the law enforcement of this city, we need to know if your contracts are dangerous in nature.
They're not dangerous in nature. We were looking for information.
Roll, well, I guess you think it's true. Roll a persuasion check.
17.
Can I request in the future that you go through the proper channels when it comes to finding information?
Yeah, you can.
I'm sorry, I guess I worded that poorly. In the future, do not follow citizens of the town and instead use the proper channels for information, or we will have a problem. Contract or
Okay.
not, disturbing the peace and harassing my citizens is a problem.
Understood.
He's insight checking you. So, I need you to roll, I guess, a deception check, because you have
Yeah, I
no
mean,
intention of agreeing.
he absolutely does not have any intention of agreeing.
15. Okay.
I'm just
You
not
are
rolling
so much
well
better
today.
at persuasion than you are deception. Okay.
I mean, I don't have proficiency in it. I don't have proficiency in it.
He looks upset, but he also looks like he can't really do anything about it yet.
Yep.
So he just looks like an annoyed cop right now. And he, like, pinches the bridge of his nose. And then the officer returns, and he steps up to Jared. They both go into the back room. A few moments later, Jared emerges and he says, "All right, you're clear. Get out of here.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
If I find you in the South Walk again, you will be watched."
Okay. Good to know. Scurries on out of there.
You and your crew flee. As you
Yep.
head, I'm not going to assume anything. Where do you go?
We're heading straight back to Cabby's.
Okay. Let me pull up the city map again. You return to Cavendish's bar. Okay. Alright, hold on. Sorry, one moment. As I try and sort out the mess that is my splash. Where did your other party members go? They're just gone.
They disappeared.
I'm sorry. One moment, please. Okay. You make your way back to Cavi's. It is later at night. You're moving quickly, and Skolna is kind of guiding the way. And as you're walking, Skolna turns around and she says, "I don't like cops."
I don't either. I'm sorry. It seemed easier to cooperate since we actually didn't know anything than to, like, try to fight them, you know? There's gonna be more of them than there are of us, and then we would get in trouble and Purse would be mad, etc. You okay?
Next time we can just get away.
I don't think all of us could have.
And maybe we need to travel in smaller groups.
Okay.
They know about us now. They know who we are. Well, you.
I mean, they knew about us before.
No, but now they know your names. They know we're at Cavi's.
Yeah, I know. I don't like it either.
Then why'd you
I'm
tell
sorry.
them?
Well, because they weren't going to believe me otherwise, and I didn't want us. If they put us in jail, we would really be in trouble.
They didn't have anything on us.
No, they didn't. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Just don't trust guards, ever.
Okay.
Skolna turns around and resumes leading the way. But you can tell from her body language, she seems frustrated. She seems not quite angry, but tense. She still moves quickly, with her guidance, you make it back to Cavies in no time at all. I rolled. You do not have any encounters on your way back.
Does everybody else in the party look okay?
You can roll an insight check.
15. Or 13. I'm rolling so badly.
You are. Your dice are just not working with you. Wash looks like she's having the time of her life. Sagona looks concerned. Hiram looks bored.
Fair.
The dog looks happy.
The dog is still with us?
Yeah, the dog followed you as soon as you left the guard post.
Aw, hi, buddy. He's gonna give him another little part of a ration.
The mutt seems very pleased about it, and gobbles it up quickly, tail wagging the whole time.
Does he have like fleas or anything? He's a
Probably.
dog.
He's a stray.
Okay.
He's
Oh,
the sort of dog you would expect to find digging through trash behind buildings
sure.
and chasing stray cats everywhere. It is not a dog that has been well cared for. He seems pleased at anybody's attention that is not yelling at it to shut up.
Okay.
You make it back to the tavern, and as you do, let me go ahead and pull the scene. Why is Skolna showing? Oh, Foundry, you are so delightful, and yet... I'm sorry, one moment, please. Let me get this token to function properly. Okay, there we go. So, as you return to Cavies, it is pretty busy. There is a very specific clientele in here. Typically, whenever you've been to Cavies and it was busy, you would see the working class, you would see like the sort of folks that are like the middle class coming to relax before or after work. Now, it is almost exclusively nobility in here. Which strikes you as odd. Not that Cavies is a bad or run-down place, but it is not a wine house or a fine dining establishment. So the fact that the city's hobnobbery are filling the tables, and most of them look a little uncomfortable, as though they are expecting a higher grade of service than they are actually getting. You see each of the tables that has like a set, it's almost like the families or groups of nobles are, it's almost stereotypical, as they have like their own servants standing around them, as they are just kind of complaining at each other.
Sure.
As soon as you enter the bar, you see Cavendish in human form. He's on the nearest most corner of the bar. As soon as you enter, he looks at you all and he just like gestures for you to approach.
We will.
I don't mean to ask this right away, but why did Goldswatch come in here and ask where you were last night?
Because they picked us up in an alley.
Ah. Well,
And I figured it was better to work with them than to let like fight them, but maybe that was the wrong call.
Well, there is two sides to every coin. I suppose there was a murder last night.
There was. To they happened to see us near it and decided that we had something to do with it, even though we absolutely didn't. But because we're Marigard,
It's more they wanted an excuse to pry, I imagine.
that's the sense that I got. Yeah.
Well, when you have a moment, make sure you go talk to old Al over there. Can I get you all a drink? Food. Looks like you've had a long evening.
He looks at the rest of the party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Sagona speaks up for everybody.
Yeah. You guys go ahead. I'm gonna talk to Alacaster.
Your party seems to agree, and Cavi takes care of them.
Cool. Tam's tail is drooping.
You go talk to Alacaster.
Yep.
Al and Annabelle and Turk, the forged, are seated at the table, and you see that like Alacaster has a huge ledger, like a huge tome, open in front of him. And as you're approaching, he closes it and he says, "Please tell me you have some good news for me."
Well, he looks around like and kind of makes a gesture. Like, is it okay for him to talk openly here with all these people?
We are among friends.
I figured. Um, so we followed him, and he was meeting somebody.
Right.
Seems like some kind of adventurer named of Kaisa.
Hmm. One moment. Kaza.
You know her?
Name doesn't ring a bell.
Well, Skulna made this sketch of her. Bad news is we did try to follow her a little, and she caught on to us. I didn't give her our names or anything, but it seems like she's in league with the Gold's Watch, so she might know some of them now.
All right. What
Unclear
else?
who she was unclear who she was working for. But she had a little meeting with Eniga. They exchanged some information. Skulna said that somebody was lying to him, that he had given her some information, but it was the wrong information, and that he mentioned to Margot that she was wrong or she was lying,
Margot.
and there was something that was coming from Terracona. He also gave us this. She produces the slip of paper. I couldn't figure out it. She found it, and it seems like it's important, but I couldn't figure out if there was any writing on it.
Alacaster looks at the parchment. He sets it like flat on the table, like pulls on his own monocle, and immediately the monocle almost like glows a dim blue, and he says, "Yep, illusory script. Something's hidden on this parchment. It'll take a little bit of time to decipher. This will certainly be interesting to read, I'm sure.
Hope so.
If they're talking of the Margot that I know of, that would be hmm, Margot Delamain, the head of the imports department.
Interesting.
Hmm,
Apparently, the guy that was murdered last night was also connected to imports and exports.
hmm. I wasn't aware there was a murder.
Yeah, that's what the Gold's Watch wanted to hold us for.
I
We happened
do,
to be in the area, and they thought that they decided that we had something to do with it.
right. I do need to know what you told the Gold's Watch.
I tried not to tell them much, but I did say they needed an alibi, and I wasn't able to really get them off of me, so I said that we were escorting clients. I didn't say you, but I did have to tell them where we were going.
Well,
So
it was bound to happen sooner or later. They'd figure it out.
I also, they didn't seem to believe me that there was a forged here. He looks at the forge. Sorry, I didn't know if you were supposed to be a secret. I guess you're not a secret anymore. I'm
Turk
sorry.
shrugs. Turk is, associate from back home. I have been, well, you mentioned earlier something about a bloodless coup.
Hmm.
I'm not entirely positive that's possible. At least, probable. So, me and Annabelle here, and with Turk's help, have been spending some time reinforcing old Cavies, as this is the headquarters for the retrieval program. Project, I should say. It's not a program yet, not until uh, Lord Adelon is upon us. He should be in transit soon.
I hope, I felt bad having them be here because I know this is kind of a high traffic time. Um, and if the Gold's Watch are smart, they might look askance at this. Sorry about that.
Oh, that doesn't matter. They were bound to figure it out sooner or later. A little bit of time, well, most of the defenses are already in place. So,
Hmm. It's good news.
the only concern is the legal issues that might occur should the wrong Gold's Watch cross the wrong threshold. But in the meantime, things should be nice and quiet and comfortable until, well, we have to progress to the next stage. Right. So, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your work tonight. Finding out what you did was very helpful. And Annabelle here's going to get to work on this parchment, ain't you? And Annabelle looks up. She's already got like the parchment flat on the table in front of her, and she just says, "Oh yeah, just do my best." Um, and Alacaster smiles and says, "In the meantime, I've been, as you can see, bumping elbows with everyone who feels wronged. How the Kingsmith went. Hopefully tomorrow I can get an arranged meeting with the Nadajdes and we can actually get some work done as far as cracking the walls into Demeric's inner circle. If we can get someone on the inside, someone willing to talk to us, maybe with the right leverage, whether it be gold or favors or blood, whatever it is, they'll know who it is that we need to talk to. So, either way, you and your team deserve a good night's rest.
Hope so.
Enjoy some time, get yourself something to eat, relax, and stay out of the crosshairs of the Gold's Watch if you can.
We'll do our best. They seem to not like us very much. Or me. Or us. I don't
You're
know.
mercenaries. They are cops.
Kaiza might be a good lead to follow, but unfortunately she now knows. I kind of bluffed and said that there was a contract on her because I didn't want them to know where there actually was a contract.
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that if you want to try to get more out of her, she'll be expecting it.
It was a good lie, one that'll at least leave her guessing, because, well, being able to hide behind a partial truth is better than having to hide behind a full deception.
That was my thought.
We can talk about Kaiser and who the hell she is tomorrow after a meeting with the Nadajdes.
Okay.
You said the one who was murdered had something to do with import.
Seems like.
Conveniently, Eudora Nadajdi, the sister of whom I'm speaking with tomorrow, admirals the largest trade fleet out of Aurelia there is.
Hmm.
So, if I get on good terms with Pomona, well, maybe they'll know more than they let on at first glance.
Maybe. Apparently, I don't remember what you just said, Echo. Quarterstone and
Shona.
where was that? Shona. He's gonna just basically repeat like any information he was able to get from the Gold's Watch. Not very much, but just like this guy seemed like an importer from Quarterstone and Shona. Unclear why he was murdered, but does sure seem convenient. Especially since he just seems like he's a trade merchant. And maybe there's something else going on there. Maybe, a lover, vengeance, money,
Well,
all the usual reasons, but
it's always about money. And with the border closed to KO, it's harder to find reliable sources for Banasat. And that is what every economy runs on right now.
makes sense.
Well, the mines from Shona, they might be drying up. So that's where these conversations come in.
Interesting.
And I imagine that's something Demrek's not too happy about.
I imagine not.
So the question is, who is it that he intends to put in a position to handle imports and exports? Makes these nobles happy, lines his pockets. I don't know. But
I don't know either.
maybe Pomona does. Either
Smart.
way, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. We'll be here if you need
Yep.
us.
Yep. Thanks. He will slide over to the bar where his
Okay.
party is.
As you do, as soon as you get there, Sagona like nudges you with her elbow like right in the rib cage, and she says, "So, sorry, how'd it go with the boss man?"
Boss man seems pleased. Seems like we didn't fuck up. I basically asked, I was like, hey, sorry about that. They probably know, the Gold Watch were here and stuff. And he was like, that's okay. The place is fortified. They were going to find out about it eventually. So that piece of paper that you picked up, Skolna, seems like it's real important. Still don't know what it says, but Annabelle's working on it.
Sagona nods, and that's all. She doesn't say anything. She just nods.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, of course.
you don't take compliments well, do you? And she says that to Skolna, and Skolna just looks at Sagona. Just saying. All right,
Well,
fine. Don't get all uppity.
did she get uppity?
Skolna's face was completely unchanged. You can roll an insight.
14.
You did not detect a change on Skolna's face.
He looks baffled at Sagona.
Not you too.
I no no I'm what?
Never mind. It's not important. Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Okay.
Have you tried his ale?
She no.
Sagona slams a stein in front of you. Uh, it has a very, like, pale golden, well, ale with a huge sudsy head frothing over the side. And she says, y'all are going to enjoy that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Does Tam like beer?
Not well, he drinks it. He's more of a like cocktail person.
I figured. Um, For someone who's not a huge fan of beer, it's not offensive.
Is
It's
it like
not.
really hoppy?
No, it's pretty smooth and mellow. Mostly what you taste is apple.
Apple. Okay, that's not bad.
It's pretty mild as far as alcohol goes. It kind of reminds you more of Alcopop, um, but it does have significantly more of a burn than you were anticipating once it goes down.
Okay.
That'll do ya.
Yep. Skullnut, like, Sagona is right. You did do great. Like, we basically just sat at the bar, and also you helped us figure out our signal. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry about the guards. I um I didn't really grow up in a place where I had to distrust them too much, and I guess I'm not used to it. But I appreciate you're right. They don't like us, and we're not friends.
Skolna, like, points at Hiram and Sagona and herself, and then at you, and then at Wash. And she just says, trust. And then she points around the room and she says, don't trust.
Yeah.
Don't trust anyone.
Are you saying that you don't, or that I shouldn't?
Both.
Even Al?
Yes. Why would you trust Al?
I don't know. He hasn't done us any wrong.
Skelna like tilts her head and like narrows her eyes at you.
What?
What has he done us right?
I mean, he's paying us, and he trusts us enough to help him with this.
He's paying us unless he finds somebody who can do it better. He's a customer. Not loyal.
I mean, his cause, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's true. Do you trust Persh, though? Persh pays us too.
She just shakes her head. Job. It's his job.
Okay. You don't think you don't think that it's just our job to do this together, though, right? You actually trust us.
We fought together. I saved all of you. You've all saved me. I've bled for you. You've bled for me.
So it's different.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Skolna sits
I won't.
down and starts drinking. Hey, so have you heard from the fiddler lately?
Uh, have what brings up that question?
Just curious.
I mean, I was outside of a temple today. I would love to go back. Um, I mean, we're working, obviously. I didn't really, I wasn't really praying very much though, because I figured if I got into that, I might not be paying attention.
You only hear
Um,
him if you're praying? Or does it just kind of show up?
he's in every song, Sagona,
It's just
but he
different.
only, But he only directly talks to me, like if I'm talking to him. But he has talked to me, yeah. What about you? Have you talked to Nier lately?
Roll a persuasion check.
Because I know you go outside in those storms. Is it only 18?
Sagona takes a long drink. No, I haven't. I haven't talked to him lately.
What do you mean lately? Sagona,
Well, he, she is not making eye contact.
has he not talked to you?
Mm, why don't we talk about something else? Like maybe, like, tomorrow I heard tell that there are some pretty big wigs coming here. And I think maybe Scotland might be able to lift something off them, and it would probably be worth quite a bit.
I don't think we should do that. I think we should not get in trouble with the guard again.
That's so boring.
I know, I'm really boring. I'm so sorry.
This whole job is boring. And it's gonna like stretches her back.
Well, Tam looks around. Sagona's type. What is Sagona's? I mean, I imagine that Tam has picked up on this because they've been in bars together.
Sagona's not really picky.
But does she like favor like redheads or green eyes or a particular kind of build?
Roll an insight check.
Tam is nothing if not a good wingman. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong sheet. I'm sorry, I keep closing so I can see this splash. $13.
You've
What do you
gathered
think?
that Sagona.
Great. I can roll above 10.
You've gathered that Sagona doesn't really have much interest in the mundane skin tones. She seems to
Okay.
like basically not humans.
Okay, no wonder she's in the wash. Um, okay. Is there some non-human chick that's like more like a servant, less like a noble that might be around?
You are also aware, not that it matters, but Sagona is very bi.
Okay.
She doesn't care about
Okay.
gender. Was there a what?
Is there some kind of non-human person that is like more like a servant, less like a noble? It seems unlikely to Tam that a noble would be
You okay? So the crowd that's in the
perfect.
bar right now is probably really not.
Not her scene.
Probably not. There's no one below upper middle class here. Like everyone
Okay.
is dressed well. Most of the nobles, like you see a lot of dragonborn, you see a lot of half elves, you see a lot of humans, you see a lot of halflings and gnomes, um, you see elves. It's like as far as Sagona's scale, you imagine this is slim pickings.
Not this is not the crowd. This is not the crowd
Yeah.
for her to fish in. Okay. Um, in which case Tam will kind of like do a sweep to sort of be like, okay, how can I help my friend distract herself? And be like, no, that's not, it's a dead end. That's not gonna work. Um, and will kind of look back at her and say, okay, you think a fight would make it less boring?
Always?
Okay, Sagona, do you want to have a sparring match in our room? And the rest of us can play, and the rest of y'all can place bets on us. Would that make you feel better?
You want to fight me?
I mean, unless someone else does.
No, no, by all means, Tom. I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
And Sagona like rubs her hands together and looks around and says, "Place your bets."
Okay, but upstairs, I don't want to disturb the vibes down here.
Right. Wouldn't want that.
Mm-mm.
It's almost muggy in here, how stuffy it is. And
And too much of a goody two shoes, as we have discovered.
Sagona slides off the stool, the rest of the group following, and you all head up to your room
Uh-huh.
to have a sparring match. Okay. Uh, is there something you're trying to gain by the sparring match, or are you just trying to entertain Sagona?
I'm just trying to entertain my friend. She's been bored this whole time.
Okay. We don't have to.
She thought that this was like a routine thing, and then we were going to go on a real adventure and we were going to fight some guys, and we didn't do that. And Tam knows his friend, and Tam doesn't want his friend to be bored, and Tam also thinks that this will be entertaining for the rest of the group. And Tam is nothing if not a showman. So
That's fair.
he will fight his friend for her entertainment and his parties.
That's fair. Sagona is more of a marshal than Tam is. We don't have to RP this out, but we can handle it with rolls.
We can. Tam also has dynamic deflection. Tam is a defense build, and he will use that.
Okay. Sagona is a storm cleric,
Yeah.
which is very offensive.
But he will also be like, can we please try to not like do too much damage to the room? Please don't shatter anything.
Sagona like holds up her hands and says, "Let's make this real simple, all right? No magic, no weapons, just fisticuffs."
Okay. Okay, Sagana.
Perfect. She like drops her stance and like seems eager to go.
Sure.
We can handle this with a few rolls.
Sure.
We don't have to drag this out. But if you're doing this fully unarmed, huh?
She will absolutely kick my ass.
Probably.
Yeah.
For the sake of it, we'll just handle this basically with rollies, but it's our attack rolls.
Sure.
So we're each going to roll 5 attacks.
Yep.
That's it.
Unarmed strike.
Yeah, 5 unarmed strikes each. And at the end of it, the one who deals more damage via unarmed strikes wins the spar.
Yeah, she has way more strength than me.
She has a lot of it, yes.
I do have my cloak of displacement, though. Am I allowed to use that or not? We said no magic.
I think that counts as magic.
It does count as magic. Yeah, that's fair. Tam wants to be fair.
What's your AC?
Without the cloak, what is my AC normally is 16, and that's with the breastplate.
Sagona
Without
Sagona's not using her shield, so her AC is 17.
Okay.
Okay. Let's roll some attacks. First one is a hit.
It's a 4?
That doesn't hit, I'm afraid. And why don't you roll all 5 and then I'll roll all 5.
Okay. Oh, that probably
That hits, yeah.
21. Ooh,
Yep, that hits.
19, 23.
Yep.
Come on, vote for me.
You have to click attack.
Oh, that's what sorry.
Okay, so you're at 3. This is 4.
Oh, that's another
Misses.
4 that
And then the last one.
doesn't hit.
Okay, so you hit 3 times.
That's another 3.
Or no, you hit 2 times.
I hit twice.
Okay, roll damage twice.
Okay. 7.
Okay.
Or sorry, 2.
Yeah, 2 damage.
2.
I think that's
Two
as much damage
damage.
as you'll deal. Yeah, so 4
I
damage.
think that's as much damage I can do. 2 damage. Yeah, 4 damage total.
Okay. I will roll. So Sagana hit with her first strike. Let me roll for another.
Yep.
She hits with her second strike.
Yep.
She hits with her third strike. I rolled an 18.
Yep.
She misses with her fourth strike. And hits with her fifth strike. So she hits 4 times. I
Sure.
will roll damage 4 times. Okay, she deals 20 damage.
God.
So as you're sparring,
Four.
yeah, as you're sparring, you get a couple good hits in, but Sigona's just ringing your
It's a
bell.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the end of it, she has you like pinned up in a leg lock, and she's just giving you the worst noogie you've ever had.
I yield. I yield. I yield. Ow! 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 Stop!
Just like every
You're
role
my.
brother I ever had. That's right.
Oh,
She like
worse than my sister.
lets you go. I had a blast, and I'm sure, as like she's holding out her hand, the rest of the crew is like placing gold coins. That's what I thought. Thank you for your bits. Thank you for your patronage. Good try.
You should teach me some things, and then I will maybe give you 3 bruises.
I think anything that I could teach you, Tam,
Hmm.
we need to get the training up first. You need the fundamentals. She like squeezes your arm.
Ow.
Right.
Okay, I'm not strong, is what you're saying.
You're not weak.
Fortunately, I'm pretty.
You are quite pretty. Aye.
Yes, I
That
am. That's
that'll
my
get you.
strength. And my strength is being pretty.
You'll notice I did not hit your face.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I am pleased to work with you on your strengths and your weaknesses. And we need to get you. We need to get some protein in you, and we need to get you moving heavy objects on the daily. If
Okay.
you want to be like me. And she does like the archer flex.
And she flexes, yeah.
And she's a fucking shit brick house. So,
Yeah.
but she is smiling and chuckling the whole time. She seemed to have fun. So you have
Good.
cheered up Sagona a bit.
Good. Did the rest of the party also have fun?
Yeah, everybody was entertained. You have cheered everyone up at least
Next
somewhat.
time, next time I want to see you and Wash go at it because she is way more skilled than I am, and then it would be dexterity versus strength, and that would be very fun to watch.
Sagona turns and looks at Wash, who shrugs, and Sagona says, "Oh, absolutely." And Wash says, "If you're sure." Tomorrow night, though. Maybe not tonight.
Oh yeah, because I did so much damage to you.
I've got a cup. I have a bruise.
You have to salve your wounds. Here, here, here. He'll cure wounds. He'll do his thing.
You're
Cure
missing
wounds.
20 hit points and you cure
Yep.
wounds. Sagona.
This is Tam we're talking about.
That's true. She chuckles as you heal her. She returns the favor. And you will heal. Well, 2d8. She'll drop a level 2 on you.
He only heals her for 3. Because he rolled really poorly, but she only has like 4 hit points missing. So
Yeah, you heal for 17.
amazing.
Yeah, you heal her back to full. Well, almost. So now she's missing 1 hit point.
Yeah.
Alright. I feel the bruise. It's patching up by itself.
Yeah, yeah, I did that on purpose so I could make sure that you had the one little reminder of how powerful I am.
A truly kind heart you are. Alright. Everyone, I'm going to bed.
Hmm.
And the rest of the party also basically like nods along and
Tam is going to actually hang out and wait for the rest of the party to leave.
Okay.
And he will look at her and say, hey, if Nier hasn't talked to you a lot, that doesn't mean you're a bad cleric. Some gods are just more talkative than others.
Roll a persuasion check.
15.
You say that like 15 is not a good roll.
I rolled a 4 and I'm mad about it.
Just, it's okay. Sagona turns and she looks at you, and her face has gone completely solemn. What? What's it like when the fiddler does talk to you?
Um, it's like the whole world goes quiet and I'm standing on a stage. And it's only really happened for real, when I've been near a shrine. But, his voice is really melodic. And he kind of, lots of gods have told me to chill the fuck out. Fiddler's not different in that regard. But I give him presents. I give him songs. And sometimes he kind of indicates his little grace note on his cheek. Sometimes he likes them.
Sagona's like nodding. She sits on the bed opposite you. She's like looking down, and her, like, the thick blonde hair is basically like covering her face. And she says, Nier's never spoken to me.
But he picked you.
I've never heard him.
He
I
picked you in
always,
the
I always go out in those storms in hopes that he'll say something to me. In hopes that I'll be worthy to hear him. I never have. I shouted
But you
out to
said
him and what did I tell you before?
you said that he saved you in the ocean,
I cried
right?
out to him. He didn't. I don't. A cleric that can't hear their god is a joke. I've never
You're
heard
not.
near.
You're not a joke, Sagona.
Everyone talks about their miracles, of their deities doing everything they can for them, of giving them power and magic, and Nier does give me magic. I think.
He chose you.
I think.
You think it might not be near?
She looks at you, and you see that there are tears rolling down her cheeks, and she reaches up and she starts to unbuckle the gorget of her armor, the splint mail. And when she does, she pulls down her cuirass just enough, right above the right side of her chest. You see there are 4 parallel, jagged lines, the symbol of Nier. This is the only clue I had that it was Nier. I was lost at sea and I was struck by lightning during one of the worst storms I've ever seen in my life. I was struck by lightning whilst I was by myself on a dinghy. After the ship that I had set on sunk behind me. I was lost at sea and by myself. I thought I was going to die, starving, out on the ocean, alone and scared. And whilst I was in that storm, and I couldn't see land in any direction, and waves the size of houses were crashing over me, I was struck by lightning. I don't remember anything else, but I woke up, broken, on the shores of Bronzewater. My clothes burnt, charred, my chest aching, and that mark burned onto me. I didn't know what it was. She stops, like looking at the ground. Travelers found me and brought me to Anzin. They told me it was a mark of near, that I was saved. The god of storms had chosen me. But I never heard him. I tried to reach out to him. I went to the shrines, I went to the temples, I visited Taka.
You went to Taka?
Aye, I was marked. I thought for sure if I had gone to his original temple, the one built in the city of the gods, he'd speak to me. But I sat there. For a week, I stayed in that temple, eating and sleeping and visiting the shrine and praying my heart out, and he never said a word.
Maybe that's not what he wants.
I don't know what he wants. I've tried to live my life as a paragon of chaos and freedom, of choosing what I want to do with my life, and it's this, and he's never said a thing. I don't know what to do. I
Are
feel
you
like
mad at him?
I was. For a long time. Before I came here. Well, not here. Before I came to the Merigard. I didn't know what to do. So I got trained. I spent a year at the temple in Taka training to be a cleric of near. Because I thought maybe if I was a true follower, he would speak to me. At least acknowledge what happened. Because I don't know what happened after I was struck by lightning. Anything could have happened. Nothing. So. And it was quiet. It was always quiet. I felt like I was screaming out into the wilderness for nobody to hear. And eventually I grew sick of it. Of the temple, of the clerics saying they could hear him. Saying they had visions of him giving them guidance of what they should do with their lives. Who needed help? Who needed freedom? Who needed a better choice? But never me. So I came to the Merigard. Oh, I thought maybe if I could prove myself a worthy adventurer, take glory. Fight. I could channel the
Sagona,
storm and he'd hear me.
Sagona, you can channel the storm.
But I can't hear him.
But he can hear you.
He can hear all of us.
I know. I think maybe... I don't know. Are you sure that you've been doing what you want to do? Because it sure does sound like you're doing what you think he wants you to do. And that doesn't sound like freedom to me.
The Merigard is what I wanted to do. I wanted to grow strong, learn to fight.
But you just said it was to prove yourself.
So
Maybe
what
that's
if
what
it
you have
is?
Well, that doesn't sound... If you're... Take it from me. if you're trying to prove yourself worthy of something and it's not really a thing that you can ever really get good enough to actually prove yourself, that's not actually freedom. That's not you doing what you want to do. That's you doing what you think you have to do.
I want to fight. I want...
I know you do. But don't do it to prove yourself to Nier. Do it to prove yourself to yourself. Do it because you love it. Do it because it's what you want, not because it's what Nier wants.
I don't know what Nier wants.
It doesn't matter. What matters is what you want.
I'm doing what I want.
Are you?
Yes, I am. I've never been so sure of it as the day that I graduated.
Okay. Then you're on the right path.
I don't know if you can know how frustrating it is to be sitting in Trait's shrines and watch your best friend since you started have a vision right in front of you.
Sagona, I was never meant for Magos either. Nier marked you. Maybe he's not your god.
Sagona just, her head just droops and she looks at the floor.
Is that what you think?
Everything he stood for, it sounds so much like me.
It does.
I don't know what to do. Why can't he hear me? Why won't he hear me?
Tam wraps her up and kind of like is like sitting on the bed next to her and kind of like gently kind of tries to like guide her to sort of be like curled up near like in it kind of half in his lap. I don't
She
know if she'll.
presses her face into your shoulder, and you
Okay.
just feel hot wetness of tears running down your chest. As she
I can
cries,
oh,
she doesn't say anything. Eventually, she wraps her arms around you and just holds on. And it is impossible not to feel like you're being held onto like driftwood.
honey. I don't know why this god is being such a jerk to you. But he's being a jerk to my friend and I don't like it.
As Sagona shakes her head and just weeps. I'm afraid that is where we have to stop
Yeah,
tonight's session.
Tam is so sad.
As we come to the end of the session, I want to thank you for playing with me. A lot happened in a
Yeah.
short amount of time. Uh, to those of you who are watching at home or at work, hi Pen,
Again.
hi Emily, hi class, hi everybody else. We love you, and I wish you all a good night.